What's up guys, so I finally had a chance to watch the Power Rangers movie last night. And oh boy, I have a lot to say about it, so stay tuned for it. Because finally, I get to do a review on it and I'm very excited to share this with all of you. So without further ado, let's shift into Turbo and let's get this started. And just so you guys know, just like the other reviews I've done in the past, there will be some spoilers, so please be careful and take some precaution. Now with the Power Rangers movie, what it consists of, it's basically where the legendary Zordon has to recruit 5 teenagers with attitudes. Now how it got started? Began millions of years ago, where a team of Rangers had to battle it out against Rita Repulsa, who surprisingly, she was once a Ranger herself. Now during this battle, unfortunately, the Rangers have lost the battle. But it turns out that Zordon, who was actually the Red Ranger himself, he used his life and every of his last well-being to make sure that the power coins are safe against his villain. Millions of years later, in modern-day present of Angel Grove, we see 5 teenagers who are not Rangers yet, but they're just doing their own thing. In this movie, they are delinquents, so they have to be stuck in detention. And throughout the movie, you'll learn why these 5 characters have to be stuck in detention. When Jason Scott has to go to detention, one of the first people that he gets to meet is Billy Cranston. Eventually, Billy has convinced Jason to head up to the mountain together and see what was going on, because it turns out Billy has quite a fascination and history with it. Along the way, he gets to meet the other teammates, and once they're all together, it turns out that they found the 5 power coins, which eventually led them to become Power Rangers themselves. However, they didn't become Power Rangers right away. It turns out it is quite a learning process. And from there, it's pretty much self-explanatory. They become Power Rangers and they fight off against Rita Repulsa and her villainous goons like Goldar and the Putties. Now with the show, it has the same aspects of it. The Rangers are able to go to the command center where they're able to meet Zordon and Alpha 5. From there, Zordon is able to explain to the Rangers of what the power consists of and what are their responsibilities. He has also explained to the Rangers of who Rita Repulsa is and what is her vengeance and what is her objective on Earth. Now with the movie and the show, it's pretty much spot on and it's very similar. However, it gets a little different from there with the movie, where they put their own twist to it. So let's start off with the characters. First off is Jason, the Red Ranger. And with his Megazord, he is responsible for the Tyrannosaurus Rex. He is the football quarterback of Angel Grove, but he tends to be a bit of a troublemaker. And for causing trouble with that, it has cost him his football career and his future. For that, he has to go to detention. With his personality, he's a really nice guy. He tends to get, like I said, he gets into a lot of trouble, but there's a lot of anger inside of him. And, well, you guys get to learn why. He has made a lot of mistakes in the past, which unfortunately has led up to this. But throughout the movie, when Jason has harnessed the power of becoming a Ranger, he is actually made for it, and I find that to be very wonderful. And from there, he has become a natural-born leader, where he has, well, made mistakes along the way, but he still has a great team to back him up. The next main character is Trini, and she is the Yellow Ranger responsible for the saber-toothed tiger. With Trini, turns out that she's an older sister with 2 younger brothers. Her parents are normal. Quite normal. Maybe too normal for her taste. She's kind of an outsider from her own family, especially when she is a new student to Angel Grove and to the school. Since she is an outsider, kind of introverted, but very quiet too, she's also standoffish, especially when she first met the other teammates. Over time, when Trini became a Power Ranger herself, she started to become more open to the idea of having friends and having them by her side, which is really nice, and I find it to be really sweet. The next main character is Zack, who is the Black Ranger, who's in charge of the Mastodon. Now in the movie, there are 2 sides of Zack that no one has ever really seen. In the movie, you can see that Zack has 2 sides. One where he is this risk taker, this fearless guy who's able to do all these cool, crazy moves. And then there's this other side who is very kind-hearted and caring, especially since when his mom is sick, and he's done everything that he can to take care of her. Now, even before when he became a Ranger, he's still this fun-loving guy who really loves to have all this kind of fun. After becoming a Power Ranger, well, he's still the same guy, but still a little bit more responsible. And the next main character is Kimberly, who is the Pink Ranger, and she's in charge of the Pterodactyl. In the movie, she's one of the popular girls in Angel Grove. She gets to hang out with friends and have a good time. Unfortunately, what part of her led to losing a bit of her popularity and some of her old friends, well, she kind she kind of got involved in some kind of scandal, which led to, well, pretty messed up results. Unfortunately, that has led to her detention and losing some of her friends in the end. It also has led her to become a little bit distant from everyone else, because she has seen from what she has become. In her eyes, she has become a monster. And now throughout the movie, especially towards the end, she's become more happier and more honest with the team. And plus, she's really enjoying life and she's more happy where she's at. She has lost old friends but is able to gain new ones. The last main character is Billy, which personally, I think he's the star of the show. With Billy, he is the Blue Ranger in charge of the Triceratops. With Billy, he is one of the most intelligent guys in school, with a very good memory, I must say. With Billy, he does all kinds of these experiments, and he's full of wonder and curiosity. Unfortunately, what led Billy into detention was part of some random science experiment that didn't really go well, and the school kind of had to take some reinforcements to that. Now, Billy is not the type of guy who understands and goes with sarcasm, but that's one of the coolest things about him. Plus, he's really funny, and, well, he's just really a fun, outgoing guy. And plus, when it comes to Billy, out of all the members in the group, he loves being a Power Ranger, and he loves the concept of it. And he is the peacekeeper within the team whenever things go bad. Now, comparing it to the show, in the pilot of Mighty Morphin, well, all 5 of them are best friends and they know each other. So if something tells me they've probably grew up with each other prior to that. They all hang out at the community center where Jason gets to be in charge of martial arts. And Zack's a really cool breakdancer. Whereas Kimberly, she is a gymnast. Billy is trying to learn martial arts too. He is a beginner, but he's also still an intelligent guy. And with Trini, she's very wise and humble. And she also knows a thing or two about martial arts as well. Now, that's just one of the differences in the show and the movie. Because in the show, they all know each other, they're able to get along with each other, and they know how to fight. Whereas to the movie, it's basically a learning process. And so you guys are wondering, what's Rita Repulsa like from the show to the movie? Well, with Rita Repulsa's story in the show, she was freed after 10,000 years because some astronauts decided to go open some garbage bin in outer space on the moon. Whereas to the show, well, like I said, Rita Repulsa was once a ranger. As she was battling Zordon to get those power coins for herself, unfortunately, the meteor showers has already hit her. And for some time, millions of years later, she was revived on a fishing boat. Who knew that is even possible? In the beginning of the movie, Rita Repulsa was just downright evil and brutal, especially when she doesn't even care about anyone that's getting to her way, and she will literally kill anyone that does so, regardless. Now, throughout the movie, towards the end, Rita Repulsa actually starts to become like Rita Repulsa, especially with her voice, and I will get to that. Now, with Rita Repulsa, as she's trying to collect all the gold throughout Angel Grove, her voice is pretty much spot on, especially when she's trying to make Goldar grow, or how should I say this like Rita Repulsa? Let me see if I can get this right. Make my monsters grow! Hopefully I did that right. If not, please comment down below because that's pretty bad. And especially when she's trying to make her putties come to life too. And by the way, they're not your average putties that you would see in Mighty Morphin. Yes, the putties are made out of clay, but in the movie, they look like rock monsters. And now let's talk about Alpha 5. Now, when I first saw the trailers coming out and when I see Alpha 5, I thought it was a bit cringy. But when I saw the movie, actually, it's not that bad. And with Zordon. Now, in the show of Mighty Morphin, throughout the 3 seasons, Zordon is from the planet of Altar, and he's very magical. He's a mystical being on Altar. Apparently, as far as I know it, Altar is basically a water floating planet, from what I've heard. And prior to his battle with Rita Repulsa in the end, well, unfortunately, Rita Repulsa has put Zordon through a time warp, which has caused him to be an intergalactical floaty head, as I would put it, and be stuck in the tube for all eternity with Alpha 5 on his side. Now, whereas to the movie millions of years ago, Zordon was the Red Power Ranger, which I find that to be really cool. Who knew Zordon could have that power? And well, no one really knows how both Zordons from both universes are able to teleport towards being in the safe haven, whether it's through a wall of a spaceship or a time warp in a tube. Who knows? If you guys have any theories, comment down below. Now, both of their personalities are completely different. Now, in the show, Zordon is one of the kindest, loving, mentors that any ranger can ever have. He's very understanding. He's one of the kindest mentors that I've seen throughout the franchise. Whereas to the movie with Zordon, well, he's kind of a bit more human. And ironically, with Zordon's behavior, he is able to become so stubborn, especially when you're trying to push the 5 Rangers to actually obtain their powers and fight off against Rita Repulsa. Now onto the Zords. Now in the show, you can actually see what they look like, especially when they're by themselves, when they're battling, or even when they're combined together. Now I find it to be really cool because obviously it's the original. Now in terms of the movie with the Zords themselves, well, they look really cool. It's interesting. It is different, but they kind of look like Transformers. Even though you don't really get a look at them, especially when they combine, which I find that to be really sad because I want to see how it looks. It's still pretty cool and see what Saban has done. So I've really enjoyed it so far. I was very skeptical, just like every other Power Ranger fan, especially for the hardcore ones who have watched the original since day one. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Well, they kept the essence of it. Will it stay the same? Will they ruin it in any other way? Well, in terms of ruining it any other way, that's up to you to decide. But in terms of keeping the essence, it is somewhat there. Because personally, I enjoy what they've done to it. Because in the movie, they've used part of that essence, the overall idea of concept in the pilot of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and they're able to apply it in a movie in their own way, where Saban was able to do more with it, something he hasn't been able to do on the show. I honestly understand where you guys are coming from. Yes, everything about the movie has changed, including the suits, Alpha, the command center, everything you know and love. Even the Zords are different. But you know what? That's fine because it is a movie film adaptation, which means unfortunately not everything is going to be 100% accurate. Now, as you guys can guess it, with the Power Rangers movie, it is basically a 30-minute pilot of the show and being put towards in the movie. Now, what do I think needs some improvement? Yeah, it needs some improvement, but they're getting there. It just, when it comes to the Zords, is when they combine together, it needs to be more visible. Because I didn't see the full transformation. It's all blurred, if anything. There are some references in the movie that they used on the show. Whether it's Alpha 5's I, or even Rita Repulsa's voice, and I mean her voice too, especially when she says, "Make my monsters grow." There are 2 of them. There's also one where the Yellow Ranger was morphing, and well, one of her shirts says 1973, and since 1973 is an iconic number in the Power Rangers world, for some of those who know, that is the birth year of the original Yellow Ranger. And I find that to be very remarkable. I actually cried when I saw 1973 because I wish the original Yellow Ranger was there. I wonder what she would think of the movie when she would see it. Now, just seeing the Power Rangers coming to light after so long, it's been a few decades, but it's really more phenomenal to see the Rangers being put into a whole new light in cinemas. Especially when they make the characters a little bit more different, but still have the same essence as they were back in the show. Now, I hope they really do make more of this more often, even though there are some improvements, because I think it's really cool to see what Saban and his team can do. Who knows, maybe Lord Zack could come along into the mix? And I'll be laughing if there was an actual wedding between Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed. Oh man, that'll be the wedding of the century. Alright guys, and on that note, that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. Overall, what did you guys think of my first movie review? Especially when it's Power Rangers. I want to know your thoughts on it, so please leave the comments down below. And if you really did enjoy this movie review yourself, please give it a like. And plus, if you guys watched the movie and want to leave your thoughts down in the comments, you can do that too. And on that note, again, everyone, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time at the next video. May the power protect you. Take care, guys. It's morphin' time! Dragon Sword!